Hey, happy Friday and welcome to this episode of Clean My Space Live. I'm really excited to be here today with a longtime friend of the Clean My Space channel and a fellow Canadian. It is Pan, and I believe his last name is The Organizer. And that is his channel, Pan the Organizer. Now, I said to him, he's going to have to explain himself because he does so much more than organizing, even though I know he's a very organized guy. He's really into car detailing. That's what he is all about. But car detailing on a very meticulous level. So he's very obsessed with cleaning and doing things the right way, which is why I think we vibe so much. He also takes care of high-end vehicles. He also has high-end vehicles. And as I learned today, because it was my first time sneaking into his office with a camera, he's also a big sneakerhead like me. So let's bring Pan in. And hey, Pan.
Hi, Melissa. How are you?
Hi, good. How are you?
Very good. Thanks for having me on the show.
Pleasure. So I feel like I gave you like a decent introduction, but I would love for you to introduce yourself to the Clean My Space channel. Just let folks know who you are, where they can find you, and kind of how you got into what you do today.
Absolutely. So, well, first, again, thanks for having me. We've been friends for a while, like you said, but before that, even you were one of the inspirations for me to start my channel. So you've been on YouTube for well over a decade at this point, right? And I remember finding your channel because I'm OCD with anything cleanliness related, whether it's in the house or the car or outside the house, whatever it is. I really like to have my life organized.
Yeah.
And one of your videos popped up. I was like, well, first of all, the on-screen appearance, absolutely amazing. The way you're presenting stuff, but it really resonated with me because we're a small part of the general global population, right? The people who are obsessed with OCD. So what you do is kind of a niche, although
well, you know, I'm not obsessed
with a big amount of subscribers. Sorry.
You know, I'm not obsessed with it. I think you and I, like, our homes and offices probably look very different.
Okay.
Yeah, this is one very tight angle of my office, but I'm certainly not showing the rest. I'm sure if I asked you to change your camera around, you would proudly show off your entire office. I would not. But anyway, carry on.
Yeah. So, well, I really enjoyed those videos and it kind of inspired me and a bunch of other channels I was following too in kind of the tech world, the detailing space. And it was my girlfriend at one point who said, listen, I see you detailing vehicles in the garage. You can spend literally 10, 12, 15 hours on end. You never take a break. You don't even come back into the home to take a pee or take a glass of water. Like, how do you do this? And she knew I was beyond passionate because I've been detailing at this point for like 26 years now. I started when I was 16 years old. I'm now 42. Lots of experience. And she said, there has to be a way for you to share this passion. I see you watching all these YouTube channels. But why don't you share your own? Why don't you start your channel? So that got me thinking, but what would I call my channel? And she immediately said, well, Pan the Organizer. And when I asked her why, it seemed so obvious. Well, she's like, well, you like to organize your finances. You like to organize your workspace, your house. You like to clean everything. You like to clean your car, both inside and out. And you like to share this. It's clear that the passion is there. And she's like, you could also do videos in French and English, which I do on my channel, which would separate you from the pack. I speak 3 languages, including Greek as well. And so, yeah, in April 2016, I decided to start sharing a bunch of different videos. So I was doing initially just sharing my different passions. So organizing your spaces at home. So your garage, your office space, your kitchen, different DIY home cleaners like you do as well that I really, really enjoyed. And some sharing electronic reviews because I really like electronics as well, home theater stuff, hi-fi gear, and a lot of DIY detailing at home so people can basically learn how to do all this stuff stuff instead of having to pay hundreds or thousands of dollars to professionals, get to enjoy it. And I wanted to share my passion for that. And that's when I noticed that the detailing stuff really took off. And so I knew it resonated with the audience. And I decided to focus more and more. So 95% of my content now is car detailing. And here we are, top 3 detailing channels in the world. Proud Canadian to be on the scene, along with channels like yours out there representing Canada well. So yeah, it's been a very long journey, going on 8 years in April. But
and Pan, we have to help you get to 1 million subscribers. So for anyone who's watching, please go and check out Pan's channel. It's Pan, the organizer, on YouTube.
Yes.
And yeah, he is lovely. He's Canadian and a fan of Makers Clean, right? Right,
Absolutely.
Pan?
Yeah, and your
Yes.
microfiber towels too, by the way, which I still have in the kitchen. If you take proper care of your towels, they're going to last for years. And they've been a staple here in the Pan the Organizer household for anything house cleaning related.
Oh, that is so nice to hear. Of course, that, you know, I totally threw you that low ball. So thank you for picking it up and plugging Makers Clean. So everyone, I want to let you know that in the comments, I would love for you to let Pan and I know where you are joining us from. Pan is from La Belle Province, which is Quebec, which means the beautiful province.
Montreal. Yep.
And he's situated in Montreal. I am from the suburbs of the Greater Toronto area in Toronto and in Ontario, Canada. Sorry. Wow. Hello. And Pan and I were just talking about traffic and how bad it is and how Toronto traffic pretty much rivals LA.
Absolutely.
We've got some people joining us from Mississauga. Hello, a local, Louisiana, Dallas. I'm going to be in Austin soon, which is close-ish to you. We've got the Bay Area, Oklahoma. So awesome.
USA representing. I'm sure it's the same for you at this point. For me too, like 60% of my audience is from the US and then another 40%, well, 35 to 40% Canadian. So pretty much the majority of the channel is North America. So hi to everyone, USA, Canada, representing well.
Nice. We've got Virginia, Kingston, Jamaica, San Diego. Wow, I love it. Yeah, a lot of our audience is American, but you know what? We have a global audience. It's so incredible. Nepal as well. Wow. Like I just love seeing where everyone is from. I think that's one of the most incredible things about doing what we do, Pan, is just we get to meet people from all over the world. And it is just so exciting. Oh, Ireland, London, France. That's very exciting.
Europe representing. I love traveling to Europe, but we try to go there at least once a year. So I've been to where have I been to? So let's start with the beginning: Spain, Greece, Italy, Portugal, Croatia, France, of course. Where else did I say Portugal in there? Yes, Austria.
Yeah, you did, but
Slovenia.
Obviously it left a mark on you.
We tried to travel. Yeah, I really like Europe. There's so much history there. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, we got more. France, Italy, South Africa, East Tennessee, Indiana, New York, Toronto. All right. So here's the deal, everyone. First, I'm going to tell you about a Makers Clean promo that we've got going on. And for those of you who don't know, Makers Clean is our sister company that creates microfiber, like premium microfiber cleaning tools and more. You can see it at makersclean.com. Chad's going to get a link up for you as well. We have a couple sales today. Every Friday, we do what's called a flash sale Friday. So we've got our Makers Minis. So this would be like a regular size Makers cloth. It's 16 by 16. The mini is a quarter of the size. So it's a 4 by 4. And we have those at 25% off. They're less than $5. We also have code YouTube10 that you can use at checkout to save on all regular price merchandise. So, this is the way that these lives work, Pan. We've got a list of questions that come in. All your questions go in through the comments. And then Chad, who's managing our live stream today, is popping them into columns, either for myself or Pan. But I'm going to tell you today, you are so lucky to have Pan here. Just before we logged on, I asked him a question about my car because I have what's called a ceramic coating. Yes. He is so good with understanding car maintenance. So any car cleaning question that you have, this is the time to ask. All right, I'm going to get started with Debbie Hobgood's question. How do you clean a top load washing machine? Mine smells like a stale, musty odor. Okay, Debbie. So this is a very common question. And it's interesting that you mentioned it's top load. And I'm glad you did that because so many people think that if you have a top load machine, that you are impervious to bad odors. And you are not. For a couple of reasons. First of all, a washing machine is a washing machine. And if the lid is closed, air won't have the ability to circulate. So there could be a couple things going on there. It could be the detergent or fabric softener cup just has some buildup in there. So you might want to remove that and give that a cleaning, because oftentimes that can get moldy, mildewy, kind of smelly. The inside of the drum just could have some buildup on it. That happens from time to time. The easiest way to deal with that is to pick up either a gel or a powder or a tablet. Yep. So I did the Apple update. So anytime I do something like this, you're going to see the little emojis come up. Yep. Sorry, I talk with my hands. Yeah. And Pan, you got to update your operating system.
It didn't work.
Yeah, that's why. I mean, you can keep doing the thumbs up and look cool, but you're never going to get the emoji like me. Okay. So Tide sells them, Carbona sells them, Afresh sells them. So you can use those tablets or gels or products. You're going to pop them into the machine, use the hottest possible setting or the tub clean cycle, and that should clean and deodorize. And then the big rule of thumb is to always leave the lid open. You're not leaving the door open, you're leaving the top lid open. So that should solve that problem for you. Sorry you're dealing with it, but it is a solvable problem. So good luck with that one. Pan, you can take the next one, and Chad will highlight it for you in the comment page.
So here I see we have Kelly, who asks, what's the best way to clean the inside of the windshield? That is a very good question.
Yes.
To answer that, we have to first start with kind of identifying what the problem is. So a lot of people, when they drive, especially in the nighttime with the glare of the lights, and especially when it's raining, so a bit of that fogginess, you'll notice kind of a haze on the inside part of your windshield. A lot of people will just take a regular glass cleaner. By the way, never use Windex. That contains ammonia and it can damage tinted film. So try to use automotive grade glass cleaners that always never have any ammonia in them. So people just take regular glass cleaners and they'll spray it on, they'll wipe it off.
What about vinegar? Can you use like vinegar water on the inside?
Fine. Yep, that's fine.
Okay,
yeah, as long as you don't use ammonia.
Okay.
And so yeah, they're going to use a regular glass cleaner, they'll do it, but that film haze doesn't get removed. So the thing is, glass cleaners are what we call finishers in the industry. So they'll clean to some extent, but they're mainly there to give back that gloss and even appearance. But before that, you have to degrease the surface. Why? Because the interior materials that you have, your plastics, your vinyl, your leathers, all that kind of stuff creates what we call off-gassing. So especially on newer cars, there's a lot of petroleum oil-based kind of stuff in there, and those kind of tend to evaporate out of those materials. And where do they get stuck on? The surfaces they can stick to, hence the windshield. So on that windshield, there's that grease and grime kind of film that accumulates over time. So it kind of looks transparent.
Oh
but
my
again,
God, I thought it was from heavy breathing and like coffee that you bring in the car.
It's the actual off-gassing from your interior materials. So the simple way to do it is very easy. You'll take a bucket, put a bit of warm water in there, and you're just going to add a bit of dishwashing liquid. I like Dawn, but whatever dishwashing liquid you have at home. So that's a good grease butter, and it's still pretty mild. You mix that up. You're going to take a microfiber towel, dunk that in there in that soapy solution. You're going to apply that onto the windshield, rubbing left and right and up and down. So in crosshatch pattern.
Yeah. Okay.
Go again, Melissa.
The S pattern.
The S pattern, or we call it crosshatch and detailing. And make sure you just clean it properly and then dry it up. You can either use a squeegee or a clean and dry towel. And then for the final step, that's when you come in with your automotive grade glass cleaner. And something like Stoner Invisible Glass, everybody knows that one. It's available at Canadian Tire stores or at your auto parts stores. It's a very, very quality one. You can use it in your house as well for mirrors, chrome, whatever you want. And that's the second part. That's when you finish off with your glass cleaner, and then you're going to have a crystal clear glass surface. So you got to cut the grease on that interior film, and that's how you get the interior of your windshield. I have a simple tutorial on that, by the way, on the channel. If people type up how to clean the interior of your windshield, Pan the organizer in the YouTube search bar, I show everything how to do it. I always try to keep it simple because I want people to enjoy detailing and taking care of their cars.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
So Pan, I just learned, I did not know that. Thank you. Wow. Kelly, that was a great question.
And you can do that on all your glass surfaces, by the way, both inside and out of the vehicle. So that technique is good to degrease the surface. And for the exterior of your windshield, what happens is a lot of people notice a lot of specks. As the car ages and you do a lot of miles, there's a lot of that road debris, the stone chips and what have you not, that will erode the glass surface on the front. And those will create indentations inside the glass. Glass is porous when viewed through a microscope, and that can also accumulate grime and dirt in the pores of the glass, just like your paint. So you can clay glass, you can wash your vehicle and then use the clay bar. So that's kind of that putty appearance kind of thing to remove the embedded contamination on your windshield. Remove that, then your windshield is going to be glass smooth, and you should have less of those speck reflections when you're driving and the sunlight hits the windshield. You're at least kind of removing all that contamination from the pores. It's not obviously going to restore the glass that's missing, but at least it'll get your glass as squeaky clean as possible.
Wow. Oh my God. I feel that was a mic drop, Pan.
Let's try and have a few of those in the show.
I just like mind blown. Okay. Here's one from Angelica. I need help on how to clean my kitchen tile. It's always foggy after cleaning, no matter what I do. Help, please. All right. So when we're dealing with haze, and I mean, listen, Pan, I'd be happy for you to pipe in here on your opinion as well. But when we have haze, it makes me think that there is a buildup of product or dirt or something that has been there for a long time. And we have to, kind of like what Pam was just talking about with the windshield, we have to sort of deal with the buildup. And then we should have some pretty great results after. So the first thing that comes to mind is, what kind of product are you using to currently mop the floor? You know, one of the mistakes I see people make is they'll use a product, like for example, Murphy's oil, which is an oil-based soap that's used for hardwood floors, although I don't recommend it personally.
No.
They will use that on tile, or they'll use that as like a multi-purpose cleaner. But what it actually does is it leaves a coat on the floor, and it can lead to that haze. And then it can be very difficult to remediate afterward because there's just a buildup of layers and layers and layers. So when it comes to floor cleaning, you actually need very little to get the floors clean on a regular basis. And then if you want to do something more heavy duty or deep clean, you can use an appropriate cleaner for the type of floor that you have. Now, full disclosure, I mean, in this house, I feel very strongly that floors don't need a lot. We have hardwood. I try really hard to take good care of it. And part of that, in my opinion, is not mopping it very often. So we will spot clean. Hello, thumbs. We will spot clean more than we will do a full mop. Okay, so that's the first thing to know. But even for the hardwood, I will use something very basic, like some water and a little bit of Dawn dish soap.
Absolutely.
Again, like Dawn's the best cleaner.
Yep.
For you, what I would suggest is, if you have a steam, like a steam mop, I think a steam mop does a really good job at breaking down buildup, because we're talking about tile. It should be safe to use. You can also look up a product line called Rejuvenate. That should be available at Home Depot or any of your big box home stores. It's also available on Amazon, and that should be able to help remove buildup. They have specialty products. It's like a large product line that cares for floors. So you should be able to find the specific one that you need to sort of remediate the issue with the tile. Now, the third thing you can try, if you're in the States, you can pick up a product called BioClean Backout. That's BACOUT, and BioClean is BIOKLEEN. And why it's great is because it's an enzyme-based cleaner. So if you're going to remove the haze, the buildup, an enzyme-based cleaner can do a really great job at doing that. So what you'll want to do, you're going to have to do a two-step where you're going to mop first, apply the product, and then you're going to do a rinse mop afterward. Thank you, Chad. Chad's got a link up there for you. And you're going to do a rinse afterward, because it's not just a one and done. It's two phases. But by the time that's done, you should notice quite a difference. I know that was a long-winded answer, but I really want to make sure that you have the details that you need, Angelica, so that you can get those tiles looking great.
Yeah, good point, Melissa. Usually just a light degreaser can really do, and you can add a bit of white vinegar as well if you want to do a bit of sanitation in there, just natural ingredients that you guys have at home. So I'll go with the next question. I see Sarah here. So hi, Sarah. Pan, I have a hard time to clean between the seats and console with the vacuum. That is another classic question. So depending on which vacuum you have, the simplest answer is to get what we call a crevice tool. So a crevice tool is kind of a long wand extension. You can find them at your local hardware store, your auto parts store, or even online on Amazon, for example, if you just search for vacuum crevice tool. So depending on which type of vacuum you have, for example, let's say you have a rigid or you have a shop vac, just look for the compatible one. Sometimes there's some universal ones as well that you can have. And that's basically very long and thin. And the profile, if you look at the edge or the tip, is more rectangular. So that really gets into the crevices, hence the name crevice tool. So that is the easiest or cost saving way to do it. If you have an air compressor as well, you can get an air blowout tool. Tornador has one. And I think the number is Z014 on that one. It's basically like a little air compressor gun that you add at the end of your air compressor hose, and it basically blows everything away. The tip has a kind of tornado style little straw going on, and it can help you blow out pet hair, all the dust, all the dirt before you do your vacuum. So that's kind of the pre-cleaning stage.
Oh,
And move your seat forward and back. So take advantage of those tracks. So start with the back, move the seat forward, blow all of that out, or use your crevice tool, and then move the seat all the way back, go to the front of the car, and then do the same thing from the front. So move the seat forward and backwards and use the crevice tool if you only have that. But if you do have an air compressor in your garage, for example, you can get those simple tools, which are very inexpensive. By the way, a crevice tool is anywhere from $5 to $10. But if you have an air compressor, and the air blowout gun is roughly in the $50 to $60 range, and that really helps out with cleaning the interiors. That's how you
wow.
do it in the professional world. Yeah.
I'm just thinking like how detailed you could get if you had one of those, because it
Oh,
always feels like there are those crumbs that you can never quite get to.
exactly.
That solves that problem. I love that answer.
And another thing for crumbs as well, another pro tip. So there's a lot of nooks and crannies, especially in the center console or in the air vents, for example. So you can get soft tip brushes. The Detail Factory has one. We call that a soft hair detailing brush. So that's
Is it like
one
a
thing.
makeup brush?
Exactly. So you can also use makeup brushes as long as they're not contaminated with anything else, because you want to be gentle on the surface. But you can also use kind of a putty gel. So it's, how do they call it? Cyber Clean. If you look for Cyber
Yeah,
Clean,
yeah.
so it's that gel
It's like
substance.
slime. Yeah.
Exactly. That will
Yeah.
mimic the surface, go into the air vents, for example, pick up all that dirt and dust. And so, or in your center console, the center stack, near the shifter, whatever it is that you can't necessarily access easily, use a detailing brush, use the jelly type substance as well. That really kind of helps. And then you're going to use your interior detailer spray with a microfiber towel to mop up and apply a bit of protection as well, because you want to protect your interior surfaces from UV rays, because that damages, cracks and
Mm.
fades and oxidizes the interior parts. So just as much as you got to wax or protect your exterior with a ceramic coating or whatever, well, in the interior, you want to apply some form of protection as well on your vinyls, your rubbers, your plastics, your leather, all your surfaces.
Yeah, not to overwhelm you, but it's interesting, Pan. Like, for so many years, I just leased a car and handed it back at the end of 4 years, and then I bought out my most recent vehicle, and now I'm really starting to think about long-term maintenance of the car, because my vision is that my daughter is turning 6 next weekend, but I imagine when she gets her license in 10 years from now, this will be the car that she drives, and she'll be like,
Yes.
"Oh, mom, that old crappy car of yours," and I mean, I love my car now, but I can only imagine what it'll be like in 10 years and how bad the technology will be, but I do want to make sure it's in great shape for her.
And the best
Um,
thing, Alyssa, people usually ask as well, like, okay, my car is new. I don't really have to do anything for a few years, right? No, it's the opposite. As soon as you take delivery of a brand new car, from day one, if possible, that's when you want to start protecting the surfaces, both inside and out. So at the bare minimum on the exterior, you should be applying a wax, a paint sealant, or a ceramic coating. That's one of the 3 forms of paint protection. And on the interior as well, protect your leathers, protect your plastics. That's how it will last for a long time. Also make your cleanings a lot easier. So protection is not only for the appearance, so it
right,
helps protect against the elements, the UV rays as well, but it helps make cleaning much easier. If you have a wax or a ceramic coating, for example, on your paint, well, the regular maintenance washes that you perform are so much easier, because the dirt and grime sticks a lot less on the surface. So it's everything to make your life easier. Not only are you prolonging or extending the lifespan of your vehicle, you're also increasing its resale value, of course. Also,
yes.
driving a clean car, there's no better feeling in the world, honestly.
Yes, you're
And
so right about
yeah,
that.
you're protecting your investment. So it's very
Yes.
important from day one. As soon as you can, start detailing and protecting it.
That is some good advice. All right, I've got a question here from Teresa Chavez, and it's, Hi, what can you use in water to wash floors that has salt? It's a very busy place, please and thanks. So, this is going to sound funny. The answer is vinegar. Salt will help to count, or vinegar will help to counter salt. So you can add a higher concentration, and it's just white vinegar. That's all you need. You can do a couple cups of vinegar. You might also want to put some in a spray bottle and sort of spray the area. You can just put totally concentrated vinegar there, and that should help to break it down. Um, for those of you who live in, a 2-season climate and not in a 4-season climate like Pan and I, who constantly deal with winter and salt and all the crap that comes along with a mess of these snowy, cold months. We're very familiar with salt and how much it just messes and crusts everything up. So,
And Melissa, to add to that, I would say
yeah.
that vinegar, I know you have many videos on how you can use just your household vinegar for many cleaning potentials in the home. Well, same thing applies for detailing as well. So yes, you can get some salt removal products for your salt stains on your carpets and floor mats. But the biggest trick is just use a 50-50 mix of boiling water and white vinegar, because you need an acidic substance to neutralize the salts. And you're going to spray that or douse some a bit on the surface. You're going to let that dwell a few minutes, and then you're going to use a scrub brush, and that's it. It's gone. So not only does it sanitize, the smell goes away, guys. Don't worry. After 24 hours, typically that will evaporate, but you're leaving a sanitized surface behind. But mainly also you neutralize the salts, because that crusty salt, if you don't take care of it quickly, it's going to burn into the fibers, and then it's going to leave permanent damage. Yeah.
Pan, I'm going to be selfish here, and I'm going to ask you a question. I know you have one coming up from Jeannie, but listen, my car mats get brutalized. Now I switch them out. I have rubber car mats, and honestly, I just
Very
leave them
good.
in all year.
Yeah.
Yeah, I just feel like the upholstered ones are just too lovely, and I don't want to have to deal with seeing mud on them or whatever. But the salt, like what I feel like even sometimes after I clean my rubber mats, they still show signs of salt. So what are we supposed to do?
First
Thank
of
you,
all,
Chad.
what type of
Thanks for
cleaner
clearing
do
that
you
up.
use for your floor mats? That's an important one. Do you know what you use?
I mean, I would probably just do a DIY, like
Okay.
vinegar and water.
Yeah, you have to for floor mats, especially the type like the Husky mats or the WeatherTech, like I have the rubberized mats. There are specialized cleaners, so they're usually 2-in-1s. So it's a cleaner and rejuvenator. So just
Okay.
cleaning alone, the problem with if you just use a regular cleaner, usually they're higher on the pH scale and they leave a white residue behind, and you have to neutralize that. If you don't know that, the mats still look dirty.
Yes.
There's one out there. I'll do a shameless plug for my channel if you don't mind again, but any tutorial you guys want, even on Melissa's channel, when the YouTube is an amazing world for tutorials, what I like to do is you go in the YouTube search bar and, for example, how to clean rubber mats for cars, Pan the organizer, and you're going to see a few tutorials I have. There's one product called McKee's 37 Rubber Mat Rejuvenator. It's a 2-in-1. So it cleans and rejuvenates and restores that aspect. So yeah, there's my YouTube channel. Thanks, Chad, for that. So when you go on there, you're going to see that it's a basic spray product. So you rinse out your mat first. Of course, pull the mats out of your vehicle, put them on the floor somewhere.
Yes.
You have to take care, because sometimes people they don't assume, and they'll do it right in the car, right? So you rinse out your mat to get rid of that initial gunk and loose dirt and debris. And then you're going to simply take that product, you're going to spray it liberally on the surface, let it dwell for roughly 30 seconds. That's pretty much it. You're going to take a stiff bristle brush, you're going to scrub that in, you're going to rinse, let it dry, and that is it. Your mats are not only clean, but they're rejuvenated. They're going to have that restored kind of black appearance like they were from the factory. And that's assuming, however, that they're not beyond the point of repair, because sometimes you neglected them for so many years. There's so much chemicals can do. But there's products out there. If you have WeatherTech, they also have their kit for cleaning their own mats, but it's a bit more expensive. And there's a separate cleaner and a separate rejuvenator. So if you want to save on time, just get one product that does both. So you spray on, let it dwell, you rub, you rinse, and that is it. Let it dry and you're good to go.
I struggle with feeling motivated to clean anything. And I'll be honest with you, I feel motivated to do this. So thank you. Okay.
Yeah, I always say start with the simple stuff, like making your bed in the morning. There's a lot of people in the military that have that as a first step kind of to start your day. So it's an accomplishment. For detailing, it can seem overwhelming at once, but when you understand the basics, it's so fun to do. And when you see that what you were able to do with your own hands and a few minutes, you can bring your car to the next level. You don't always have to spend 10 to 12 hours on a vehicle. vehicle. So there's small things you can do. I have a lot of tutorials for beginners as well, how to polish your paint, how to decontaminate, how to apply a wax. All the basics are there as well. And you build your blocks from there. And the more you get to enjoy it, well, then you can get into more experienced stuff like applying a ceramic coating, for example, which is not that complicated again when you understand the basics. So let's
That's
go
great.
on to,
Thank you.
I think Jeannie had, well, let me get to her question. So what is the best way to remove cloudiness from headlights? So we've all seen that. Let me first say why that happens. So a lot of that foggy appearance on older vehicles are coming from headlights that were not protected with either a wax or a ceramic coating, for example. So the UV rays, what that does is they oxidize the surface. So it tends to kind of have that milky-ish or milky white appearance, or if it's heavily oxidized, you have that yellow headlights. So you've seen probably a lot of old cars, especially in climates like California and Arizona, for example, if they're exposed to crazy sunlight all day long, even the paint, right? On how many times have we seen red vehicles look actually pink? That comes from the oxidation from the sun, simply because the surface wasn't protected. So if you're at that point, depending on how bad it is, you have one of two options. So if it's some medium to light kind of oxidation, there are some kits available at your auto parts stores. They call them headlight restoration kits. Some easy and simple ones, effective ones, are from Meguiar's, Turtle Wax, for example. Those are widely known consumer-based products that work well. So it's basically, it's a small kit. Typically, it comes with a small sanding block. You're going to sand off all that oxidation with a bit of water. We call that water sanding. They explain the procedures on there, but I also have a tutorial on that if people want to see that in action. How do you use that kit? How to restore faded headlights? Pan the organizer. You're going to see that. So you're going to use those sanding blocks. It's very simple. You rinse off your headlight, and then you're going to apply, it's usually in a form of a little wipe in most of those kits. It's going to remove the oxidation and yellowing as well, chemically speaking. And then once you're done, you wipe that away and you apply the protection. So it's either a wax that you can apply if you have a car wax at home, or if you buy those kits, they usually have the ceramic wipes at the end. So again, very easy. You can restore your headlights in 10 to 15 minutes, and you just wipe that on. It's a liquid substance. It's going to dry, and then you have protection for 6 months to about a year, but you got to keep on regular maintenance, because if you don't, they're going to yellow and oxidize and fade again. Now, if you got to a point where the oxidation level is so intense that you can barely see any headlight, that's any light coming out of your lights, that's a road hazard, by the way. It's very dangerous. It's important to have crystal clear headlights. So then you have the equipment at home to do some water sanding and then machine polishing to refine the surface, and then you apply your ceramic coating on top. Or you can go see a professional detailer near you, look for a trusted or a reputable one near you, and ask them to do just a headlight restoration. That usually goes for anywhere from $50 to $150, depending on where you live, what city. Prices vary greatly from one country to another, but you can have a professional deal with your headlight restoration if they're too far gone. So all headlights can be restored. It depends what is the level of how bad the oxidation is on the surface.
So interesting. So just to be clear, toothpaste is not the way to go.
It is a mild abrasive, but that's like those DIY hacks that you see on non-detailing channels.
Yep.
We always kind of laugh a bit at
Like
that.
on 5-minute crafts.
It's going to take you so much elbow grease and 50 years to do the work. Just get a headlight restoration kit, and that will already bring your headlights to the next level. It should work on the majority of oxidation, unless it's too far gone. Then you want more of a professional type service.
That's what I always say too. Like, when we see those hacks, it upsets me because people are being misguided. They're being told to use something that costs next to nothing, but then the cost is in your time, right?
Yeah. Yep.
And you're compensating for a product or tool that can't do the same job that something you would buy, a professional grade version of would be able to do for you so much more efficiently.
Absolutely.
And with such better results.
Exactly. Yeah. You sometimes, there's things that you think might cost $1 or $2, and you might want to save on cost, but then you get this headlight restoration kit for $15 or $20, not that much more expensive, but it's going to cut on time a lot, and it's going to get you actual results. So there are some life hacks sometimes that can work, but the majority of the time in the detailing world, you do have to use appropriate tools and products to get the job done. Yeah.
Yeah. Glad we're aligned. Okay, so here's one from Katie Springer. What can I really use to whiten a fiberglass tub? How do you get rid of hard water on faucets? So we've got a twofer here. So the first question, to whiten a fiberglass tub, like Pan said, I think going out and buying a proper kit is the best way to go. So Rust-Oleum is a very reputable brand, and they have a repair kit. And again, like, Pan's explaining to you exactly how it goes step by step. I don't have a tutorial on fiberglass restoration on the Clean My Space channel, but I'm confident there are videos that can teach you how to do it. But I know as well, oh, there's a thumbs up, that the Rust-Oleum website and even the package would be able to explain to you how it's done. I find so often these things feel overwhelming, but then when you actually get it home, you break it down, you go step by step, it's a lot less scary than what we might have thought. And I'll circle back to something Pan said a few times now. It really does feel great when you're able to do this on your own instead of having to call in a professional. Because of course, Katie, you can call in a professional, and you can pay quite a bit of money to have this restored or refinished, or covered. But it is indeed something that you can deal with. Now, your next question about hard water stains, there are multiple ways that you can tackle this issue. I would say it's dependent on the materials. So you want to make sure that the product that you're using is safe, for the surface that you're using it on. So you would want to stay away from something that's acidic or bleach based. If you're using it on a metal, basically, particularly for the bleach based product, but if it's a natural stone, you've got to be really, really careful with that. You can take the DIY route and you can use a white vinegar. There are also some products that I think are really well suited for this particular issue, especially if it's hard water stains and they are really in there and they haven't been dealt with in a while. Products like CLR really tackle this effectively. There's another thumbs up. Pan, you'll know this because you're Canadian. I'm like a politician, right? You know how they always point with their thumb?
Absolutely.
Yes. Like the Lego people.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. Anyway, so I feel like I learned that from watching a lot of political debate. Anyway, I'm going to stop. Okay. And then the next thing is a product called CLR Brilliant Bath. I've had really great results with this particular product as well. So I would give that a try for your hard water. And then I would give the restoration kit a try for your fiberglass tub. Good luck.
Good point, Melissa. And even in the detailing space, so a lot of people, they wash their vehicles and they notice, especially if they have hard water issues where they live, they have water spots on their paint. So if left unattended, those can start etching through the clear coat, because hard water, when the water evaporates, leaves behind minerals, and those minerals are acidic in nature, and they're going to start grinding and etching through your clear coat. The clear coat is that shiny part on top of your paint, right? And so if you leave those unattended and you don't remove them, that can create some permanent damage. And so the one great tip I have for anybody who washes their car out there, I see it typically with my neighbors. I'll go outside on a beautiful day, noontime, it's beautiful, it's sunny. That's when they're washing their cars. That is the worst possible time to do that, because the sun's blazing and it accelerates the evaporation of the water, and it's going to leave behind those water spots. So the best time is actually very, very, very early on in the morning, or as late as possible in the afternoon if you have to work outside, if you can't wash your car in your garage. So when the sun is almost down, take that half hour to an hour to clean your vehicle. Then it's going to be a better experience for you, because it's not super hot, it's not sweaty outside, and you're not going to have those issues fighting with the water evaporating too quickly before you have time to dry off your vehicle. So that's one quick pro tip. Never wash your car at noon. That's when the sun is at its hottest and its brightest, and you want to avoid that. So be that cool person on your street that knows how to and when to properly take care and wash your vehicle. And do it very early on or very late in the day. And there you go.
Oh.
Yeah, at least you have sunny days. I like that, because right now here there's no sun and it's another snowstorm as I'm looking outside my window in Montreal. We're in freezing conditions again. I hate winter. I hate winter.
I know. I'm with you on that, Pan. And I feel like the person that just commented must live in the UK. Please confirm in the comments if you can. Wait a sec. Oh, here. Pan, this one's for you, from
we
Becky.
have Becky T. How do I clean the hard surfaces like the dashboard of a 2023 Subaru Crosstrek? Regardless of what make and model of vehicle it is, the interior hard surfaces are typically out of plastic or vinyl. And what you want to use is, again, if we're keeping it simple, a basic interior detailer. So if you go to your local hardware store or on Amazon or your auto parts store, look for something that's called a quick interior detailer. So what that does, it helps to lightly clean the interior and also adds a slight layer of UV protection and other protection to keep the surfaces from fading, oxidizing, and making your future cleanings as easy as possible. So just that spray and a microfiber towel, you already have covered probably 80% of what you can do on the interior. And then for very dirty and very nasty ones, you'll want something like a soft detail brush to kind of agitate, foam up that surface, and then you mop up with your microfiber towel. But yeah, a quick interior detailer is where to be. Again, I have a full tutorial showing you if you want to search for how do I clean the interior of my car. Pan the organizer, you're going to see a full A to Z, I call, or top to bottom tutorial showing you how to clean everything from glass to plastics to your leather seats to your fabric and upholstery or carpets, all that kind of stuff. It can feel daunting because usually when I look at beginners, sometimes they tell me, I'm scared to do this. It seems complicated. Should only professionals take care of their cars? No. Yes, a professional will have years of experience and can bring it to the next level. However, for all the basic stuff, both on the interior and exterior, what I want to do is share the information to make it simple for everyone. And I want people to enjoy cleaning their cars. It should not feel like a task. For me, I feel it's a soothing and relaxing moment. Believe it or not, when I'm cleaning the car, there's something relaxing because you forget about everything else, all the woes, your daily woes, or whatever issues you had at work or whatever it may be. You have that time that you're focusing on the task at hand, and you enjoy just a calm moment. Usually nobody bothers you when you're
That's
detailing
so
your
funny.
vehicle.
I feel that way when I'm sleeping.
That's a good one. No,
Um,
yeah.
and so, dish soap and water, I now understand why that's not a viable option because it does not offer the UV protection. So
Not
thank you
only
for
that, but
pointing that out.
you're with your dish soap on surfaces. The issue is that you're degreasing and you're potentially removing any of the oils that should be in the material to keep them supple, to keep them going. So, and it's going to
Wow.
dry and fade the surfaces. So,
Okay.
dishwashing liquid should not be used on vehicles other than the glass surface. That's totally fine. But for
Okay.
everything else, use automotive grade products, guys, because you want to make sure that you're using also quality chemicals that have been developed for the surfaces that you're using them on. So Dawn dishwashing liquid, as nice as it may seem, it is not appropriate for use on the vehicles, either interior or exterior. Please never wash. I'm going to have an upcoming video on that to explain it, but never wash your vehicle with dishwashing liquid because, again, it's a degreaser. So if you have a protection like a wax on your vehicle, that's actually going to strip it off.
Strip
So
it
you're
off.
counterproductive by removing the protection, but also
Hmm.
it's going to remove a lot of the oils that are contained inside the clear coat. You're going to fade the surface a lot quicker, and sometimes they contain some chemicals that are harmful to the long-term durability of that surface. So your surface is going to fade, it's going to oxidize, it's going to look dull as well. That's why when
Hmm.
you use the automatic car wash too often, usually vehicles come out looking dull. You can stain your trim work. So please wash your cars yourselves as much as possible. I'd rather, like I was telling you, Melissa, have somebody wash their car only once a month using a quality pH neutral car shampoo, then bring it 4 times in a month to an automatic car wash. That can wreak havoc and it can strip your protection as well over repeated use. If you have a wax, for example, those heavy degreasers and caustic chemicals that they use in car washes will remove that wax from your paint.
Hmm.
So yeah, don't do that as much as possible.
Good to know. Now we have another selfish question, but wait, actually, before I ask my selfish question, I'm just going to remind everyone about the Makers Clean flash sale that we're having. We do them every Friday. So Makers Clean is our sister website where we sell all of our premium microfiber cleaning tools and more. And obviously, you can hear Pan talking all about the importance of microfiber. It's pretty much all I talk about as well. It is the best cleaning tool.
Yeah.
And today our Makers Minis, which are small versions of our microfiber cloths, are great for sticking in your bag, in your car, taking with you on the go. They are 25% off. You can also use the code YouTube10 when you're checking out to save 10% on all regular price merchandise. Okay, Pan. So before I move on to my question, because I must know, just a quick answer. So we have a pressure washer, although I do think Chad lent it to his brother, and I don't know if he's given it back yet. But is a pressure washer a good thing to have to clean your car with, or Yeah, it is. Okay.
It's the best thing to wash your car with. However,
Mhm.
never exceed 2,000 psi of pressure to wash
Or else you're
vehicles.
gonna
So
strip
there
the
are some
paint.
gas power ones that go 3,000, 5,000 psi. No, you can start stripping the paint,
Yeah.
especially if there's a bit of chips. You can do some damage. So anything between 1,000 psi to 2,000 psi, more than enough. But yeah, you can also use your pressure washer not only to rinse the vehicle and clean it that way, but you can attach a foam cannon. So that's some kind of cool thing, right? For the pre-cleaning stage. So before you do your contact wash with your wash mitt, you want to remove as much dirt and grime as possible to reduce the chances that you're going to swirl or scratch the paint when you're hand washing it. So we have what we call foam cannons, and in there you put a mixture of your car soap or snow foam with a bit of water, and it's going to blanket the entire vehicle with foam. So it looks super cool, but there's things out there that's going to add lubrication on the surface. And then when you rinse that off, you're going to remove a bit of that loose dirt and debris before you wash your car with your hands, because the amounts of swirls and scratches that people see on their vehicles usually come from one of two things that you're doing when you're hand washing and improper drying techniques. So when you're
Mm,
drying with your towel, anytime you touch the paint, that's when you have the highest chances of adding those swirls or spider webs that you see in the
spider
light,
webs.
or
Yeah.
some scratches. So you want to minimize that as much as possible. And one of the tricks is to pre-clean the surface before you hand or you touch it with your hands in your wash mitt. And that is by using the cool foam cannon. So if you have a pressure washer setup, you can use that. Or if you have just a regular garden hose, you can use what we call a foam gun. So you're not going to get the same foam output, but the result is still the same. As you're going to blanket your entire vehicle with a foamy substance. You're going to
Hmm.
let that dwell a few seconds. Then you're going to rinse that off. And then you go ahead and you do your what we call a contact wash with your microfiber wash mitt and your soapy wash solution in your buckets. So that's
Hmm.
like another way to step that up to a more prosumer type cleaning. And it's going to make the results so much better.
Wow. I think the last time I saw a foam cannon was when I was in Cancun, and there was a foam party going on.
It's kind of the same thing, but form party for your car. Yeah. And your
That's
neighbors are
awesome.
always looking at you like, what the hell is going on there?
Yeah,
That,
I
that
feel like
seems
I feel
cool.
like your neighbors, they probably raise an eyebrow every now and then, but they're also probably jealous. We have a neighbor that's really obsessed with cleaning his car. Shout out Dave if you're watching. Like real obsessed. And yeah, he's got all the things, all the tools. He's very obsessed, probably very much like you. All right, here's a question from Little Cleaners LLC. I'm currently on site. Wow, this is like a live action question. Okay, with a move out clean. So, for those unfamiliar, someone has vacated the house and this person is coming in to clean it and turn it over for the next person. And I'm having a hard time deciding how to clean the walls in the most effective and quick way. What do you suggest? A sponge mop with bleach or Dawn? So, yeah, bleach is not something I would use on a wall only because we're not sure how it would affect the paint. I think bleach is probably one of the most used and abused, overused, misused cleaning products out there. People just use it because it was used at home when they were growing up. But the implications of using bleach on surfaces can be pretty severe if you don't know what you're doing. So, to me, cleaning a wall, if it's just a basic cleaning that you're doing, sponge mops also I'm weary of because they're really hard to get clean. The sponges are quite porous and cellular in nature. So if you're using a sponge mop, dirt can be absorbed, replaced into the fresh water, and then it's really hard to get that water and that sponge clean again. So we prefer a mop pad. So like the Maker's mop, the taco shape mop, or any of those flathead mops where you can rinse thoroughly the microfiber pads and remove them. If you don't have that handy, you can just take a bunch of microfiber cloths and saturate them with your product and sort of apply it onto the surface, much like if you had a Swiffer. You can sort of poke the cloth into the little asterisk shaped things on the base of the Swiffer. You can kind of do the same thing. I hope that made sense. But anyway, I don't know exactly, what products and tools you have on hand, but I would say soapy water would be okay. Perhaps with a little bit of vinegar would be okay too. But most importantly, you want to test first because not all paint can tolerate, especially if it's paint with absolute like a flat paint, like a matte paint, cannot tolerate any water whatsoever. So you're going to want to test it first and see if it dries and doesn't leave any mark behind. And if it does, you can proceed. But that's essentially what I would do. So I wish you luck and I hope it's efficient.
So the next question we have here from Jan, I hope I'm saying that correctly. So Pan, what is the best way to remove
Oh,
tar from the outside of your car? Ooh. So tar basically usually comes from the road, especially on freshly paved roads. So that black kind of tarsh material. Or if you like racing at the track, for example, then you might have some tar from the tires and the racetrack as well, whatever it may be. So those black dots that is on the paint, again, you want to address that as quickly as possible when it's fresh. You don't want to let that sit on the surface for too long. So before we do anything on a vehicle trying to correct stuff, we want to make sure that we wash the vehicle. So first order of business, always clean and dry your vehicle. Start with a clean slate. And then there are some road tar removers that you can use. So there's a lot of car detailing brands. If you search for them again on your auto parts stores, your big box stores, or even online on Amazon, for example, you can get just some basic tar removers. So you're going to spray that on the surface. Please follow the instructions on the labels of whatever products you're using. People have the tendency to just start using right out of the box, spray it on. They don't really know what's going on. They don't get the optimal results. There's a reason why the chemists come out with the instructions. Please read them. So
yeah.
usually it's spray on, let it dwell on the affected area for a few seconds. It's going to soften that kind of thing up. You're going to take your microfiber towel and you're gently going to wipe. And I recommend once you removed those tar deposits, just to make sure you neutralized any residue of the chemicals, wash your car a second time to neutralize those chemicals and to make sure you have a clean surface. And so that's one of them. You can use Goo Gone as well for those who might have that in your house, or something like Citrol 266 from Schaefer's Oil. Those are common household items that are super effective against tar. Just be careful with those, because if you have a wax, for example, on your vehicle, that's a weaker type of protection compared to a ceramic coating that has a much higher resistance to chemicals. So if you just have a regular wax, you might want to reapply wax after you removed all the tar to make sure you protect that surface that you just cleaned and decontaminated. And that is it. So it's actually pretty simple, as long as you do it as quickly as possible when you see that tar. So in the next days, don't let that go on for weeks on end in the baking sun, because then it's just going to be harder. You're going to need multiple applications. You can still remove the tar. It's just going to need a lot more elbow grease and a few applications, compared to if you do it as soon as you see it, you address the issue, and boom, you're done. So a tar remover or Goo Gone or Citrol 266, those are all solutions that work super well.
Love that answer. Yeah, I once drove through a construction site. Actually, it wasn't a construction site. It was just a street in downtown Toronto. But of course, there was a cement truck there and it was like spewing cement at the exact moment I was driving by. And I remember it just spewed like liquid cement onto my car. I had
Ouch.
an Acura 1.7 and I was just like, hi, and stuck in traffic and there was nothing I could do. And the guy just kind of looked at me and shrugged. And I was like, uh-huh.
Yeah, because he
Right.
wasn't the one that would have had to correct all the
Right.
solve your problems.
I was just not happy about that. All
Yeah.
right. Pan, we've got like 9 minutes. So I'm going to try and get through my question. And then you've got a few more than me. So I'm going to go quick. So this one's from Yolanda. What do you suggest to clean granite tops? Oh my God. Hello. How do you clean granite countertops when it looks dull in certain areas? So the best thing, this is telling me that part of the finish has been stripped off. So we have to seal our granite and our marble regularly. And I don't think enough folks know this. And I will say, honestly, I give this advice. I don't do it all the time. It's like one of those extra tasks that Pan probably finds very pleasurable. And I just want no business doing. But the truth is, if you're noticing it and it's bothering you, you can find a product that restores and reseals your granite, that it's like granite gold. You can find these products at like your Home Depot or your local big box store. It is a simple matter of cleaning and then applying and buffing in the product. I say this and I'm like, wow, Melissa, that sounds easy. Maybe you should do that. But this is the advice I'm giving you, Yolanda. That's what you're supposed to do. And it will make a difference. It will make it look beautiful. So I hope you give that a try.
Awesome. Let me jump to one that I see that's going to be important. I want to get to that. So Carol asks, what is a ceramic coating on a car? So that is a question that I always get, especially from new subscribers that are kind of curious about the detailing world and they've heard ceramic coating, right? So if we go back in time to a few decades ago, there was a regular carnauba wax that you'd apply. So that's a plant-based from the carnauba trees down in Brazil, refined to whatever extent. The more expensive ones have a more refined carnauba, but typically that will last anywhere from 1 to 3 months. So the goal is always to protect your paintwork from the elements, make the car easier to clean, but also prevent UV damage. So prevent the paint from fading over time and oxidizing. So carnauba wax works well, but it lasts only 1 to 3 months. So a little evolution to that was the appearance of a synthetic paint sealant. So kind of in a liquid form or sometimes in a paste form, but those are synthetic man-made materials. And those paint protectants could last anywhere from 3 to 6 months. So you were kind of doubling that protection. Now, fast forward to about 5 or 10 years ago for the general public, the biggest breakthrough in car detailing was the upcoming of a ceramic coating. So what that is something, again, to protect your clear coat, so protect your paintwork from the oxidation, from the elements, make the car a lot easier to clean, but it's also going to make your paint a lot glossier, much slicker, and give more chemical resistance, hence the durability in the terms of years. So instead of a few months, like the waxes and paint sealants, a ceramic coating, if applied professionally by a professional or a certified detailer, will last for many, many years. So there are some coatings out there that can last 2 years, 3 years, 5 years. We see coatings now that are 5+ years. Of course, the durability will depend on many factors, such as your mileage. Is it your vehicle a daily driven vehicle? Does it sleep outside in the elements 7 days a week? Or is it garage kept? So if it's garage kept and driven less often, the coating is going to last a lot longer. So, but I digress. So basically, it's a form of paint protection that is the ultimate form. Today, we also have variations on that called graphene coatings. Graphene coatings are essentially ceramic coatings with a bit of reduced graphene oxide applied into it. That's a big word to say. Basically, it's a coating. So you have two versions of those. Those that come in vials that are in glass form, those are the ones that last for many, many years. DIYers can also apply them. I have a full tutorial on how you can apply a ceramic coating at home. It's basically the same steps as a wax. It's just you have to be a bit more tedious with your preparation of the surface to make sure you get a proper bond of the product on there, but it's super easy. Cross hatch, up and down, left and right, you let it dwell a bit. There's a visual indicator when it's time to remove. You wipe off with your microfiber towel. You're going to let it sit for 24 hours without exposing the vehicle to water or rain. And there you go. You have kind of a harder shell protection that will last for many years. So that's what a true coating is. And now for the public, there's also things that are variants on that we call spray coatings. So those are not as durable, but however, still more durable than your regular wax, but they're much easier and less expensive. So they're called ceramic sprays. Those will last anywhere from 6 months to 12 months. And they're basically a spray on, wipe off application. You're good to go. And you're going to get more durability. So see a ceramic coating like a wax on steroids. So whether again, your wax is going to last 1 to 3 months, you're going to apply it on the surface using your either Mr. Miyagi method, wax on, wax off, or however you want to apply it, remove that. It's going to last a few months. Well, then the ceramic coating, again, will give you everything on boosted steroids. So many years of protection, much greater UV protection, more slickness, more gloss on the surface. Of course, we have what we call with ceramic coatings self-cleaning properties. Now, that doesn't mean that the vehicle cleans itself. What that means is the vehicle is much easier to clean compared to any other protection or an unprotected vehicle. So you'll notice in a parking lot, there's sometimes some vehicles that look way shinier despite all of the other ones looking very dirty on an inclement weather day. Well, that's usually because they're ceramic coated. So dirt and grime has less of a tendency to stick on the surface, and your vehicle just looks cleaner for longer and is much, much easier to clean. Yes, Melissa.
Yeah. So first of all, Carol is an awesome Clean My Space fan. So thank you for that question, Carol. And I have to know, so because I have a ceramic coating on my car, we were just talking about this. Is it like ceramic? Like what's it made out of?
So there's many variants of ceramic coatings. Ceramic is a general term. There can be what we call the true ceramic, or SiO2, so silicon dioxide, kind of what is in sand particulates before you make glass. That's why you'll hear sometimes people refer to ceramic coatings as glass coatings. It's
like a liquid glass almost.
In the formula, there is silicon dioxide or silica. Okay. So the same thing as you'd find in sand and glass. Yes, that's true. But it's a bit different in the way that we have to make sure that the coating on the paint is flexible because of the temperature changes from cold to warm and so on and so forth, the paint can expand and contract. So the coatings have other chemicals inside there that will help them be flexible on the surface. But yeah, a lot of the basis is SiO2. There's some that are titanium dioxide based as well. We have now, like I said, graphene coatings, which have reduced graphene oxide in them. And there's a bunch of other types of chemistry involved in there. But yeah, you can say you're applying basically a hard layer that's 2 to 3 times harder than your clear coat, so much harder, and will help to, again, boost all the properties, give you that awesome gloss, that slickness, but protect your paintwork. That's the most important thing. Coatings are there for long-term protection of your paint, so it looks good for many, many years. However, some misconceptions out there through some false advertising sometimes, or overhyped things from people who don't really know what they're saying. Ceramic coatings are not bulletproof, so they will not protect against scratches and swirls or stone chips, especially. You're not going to light your car on fire and the coating is there to protect it from burning. So what it does, again, is just make the vehicle much easier to clean during your maintenance washes, and it's going to protect your car against the harsh chemicals, against the elements, the oxidation from the sun's damaging UV rays. So kind of, again, like a wax, just on steroids, that's lasts much, much longer on there. So that's what a ceramic coating is.
Nice. Okay, Pan, you've got a question from Tammy, Aline, and Yowik.
Okay,
so I want you to get to them because they're all so good.
Okay.
So let's see what the answers are.
So Tammy, weird question. Yeah, that's a good one because we don't necessarily always have the answers. It's hard to troubleshoot virtually without seeing the vehicle. So that's one thing. So my son sprayed Cologne on fabric seats of our shared car. It has left about 6 rings all over the car. I have rented equipment and it still shows. Any suggestions? So that's a tough one because it's hard without seeing what you did or knowing what you did. However, you have to start off with using an upholstery and carpet cleaner. There are some more professional grade ones. If I look at, there's a trio of system from PNS. That's a more professional type brand product. So they'll have enzyme-based cleaners. They're going to have other cleaners that can remove sometimes organic spills. It depends what kind of spill or thing you're trying to tackle. And then at the end, a neutralizer. So you can start with a few carpet and upholstery cleaners, use a carpet and upholstery fabric brush, mop that up, see if that corrects the issue. If that still doesn't correct it, you have to always, you start with the less aggressive method and then you move on to more aggressive methods. So the next step up would be, yep, exactly. You would be to use a carpet and upholstery extractor. So those are the machines that you can rent sometimes at your local hardware store or even at your grocery store. You're going to put your carpet cleaner inside there and it's going to inject some warm heated water along with the cleaner out there and then suck up the dirty material back again. You're going to let that surface dry, and that usually is the way to take care of it. So those are the suggestions I would have for carpet stains. It's not as simple as it seems sometimes, especially if it's been on there for a while. And in Cologne, sometimes, depending if it has an alkaline pH or a more acidic one, it can start staining permanently. So unfortunately, there aren't miracles that you can do all the time. Sometimes if it really burned through the fibers, you cannot restore them. So if you tried those 2 methods, your next step would try to go sometimes and either ask an opinion from your professional detailer near you so they can assess the situation visually and either recommend or have them do the job if you can't tackle it yourself. So that's the recommendation on that one.
And I feel like Aline's question is very similar to that, actually, if you have a look, Pan, at Aline's question.
Aline, so Pan, a beautiful used car with black cloth seats, but they have some stains. Yeah, exactly the same thing. Start with the less aggressive method first. So get a carpet and upholstery cleaner, again, from reputable brands. For the general public, by the way, if you don't want to step into the professional stuff like Geon, CarPro, G-Technic, those are 3 of the big pro brands that consumers can still buy, by the way. But things that you can find at your local hardware store, brands like Griot's Garage, Adams Polishes, Meguiar's, and Turtle Wax, those are 4 very good quality bang for buck that do the job. So use those carpet and upholstery cleaners, use your fabric brush, try and brush that out, mop up with a microfiber towel, observe the results. And then if that's still not enough, then move up to potentially renting or buying. There's the Bissell entry-level carpet extractor for the house. That's like $150.
Yeah.
So I have that and a professional one.
We love it.
Yeah. And believe it or not, it works super well. So inexpensive method to get the job done. And you can use it around your house as well. So it's a machine that will last for years.
Especially if your cat throws up on chairs all the
time. Yep. Why would they or why wouldn't they? So we have one from, I hope I'm saying this well, Yawik. The best way to remove brake dust. That's a very good question. So What is brake dust and how do you see it? On lighter colored cars, it's more obvious, especially on whites or light silvers. So brake dust is usually those orange rush specks that you see all over the surface of the vehicle. So you're looking at your paint, you wash your car, and you see those little rust dots, right? Those orange specks, and you're wondering, what is that? So basically, brakes, your discs, they're made out of iron materials. And so when you're braking hard, they release hot iron particles that fly onto your paint. And those iron particles, see them as saw blades. They have jagged edges. And when they're hot, they start burning through the clear coat and they grab onto it. And those iron particles, well, with the contact of water and oxygen, they start to oxidize, hence rust. So that's why you see those rust spots. Now, if left unattended, those can start etching again through the clear, create potential damage, and they can start rusting inside your metal if it penetrates through that metal as well. So the simplest way to remove is actually quite simple. You're going to wash your vehicle. Always, again, start with a clean slate. Once you're done cleaning your vehicle, you're going to use what we call a chemical called an iron remover. So all brands have those. If you go to your auto parts store, once again, you're going to have that. It's a substance that you're going to spray on to the surface, and you're going to see it's clear when you spray it on. But when it reacts, it has this color change to purple or red. We call that bleeding. So that's a visual indicator that it's kind of reacting. You're going to see your paint bleeding. That's totally normal, by the way. So it's going to melt.
You're not having a nightmare.
No, you're not. Exactly. That shows that the product is working. And so that actually melts the edges of those jagged kind of edges, and then it solubilizes those molecules so you can rinse them away. So when you're done using that chemical, you spray it on, you're going to see that color change after a few minutes. Do not apply in direct sunlight. Do not let them dry on the surface. So be very careful. You're going to rinse that off, and then that should get rid of the majority. If there's still some that are stubborn and still stuck in there, that's when you're going to pull out a clay bar, that putty kind substance, and a clay lubricant. So you spray your lubricant on the surface. That's going to make the clay bar glide on top. And your clay bar, that putty substance that is made for automotive use, is going to pull up a lot of that contamination. It can be paint overspray. It can be tar deposits. It can be tar deposits as well. It can be tree sap, or in this case, a remainder of the brake dust. And that's going to make your paint glass smooth. And then at the end, you apply your layer of wax or whatever protection you want, and you're good to go. So an iron remover that's what you start with. That's the chemical. Spray on, look for that color change. It looks amazing. You rinse off, and that should take care of the majority of your brake dust. It's very important to address that. Good question.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, really good question. And Pan, next time we have you on, we're going to have to talk about your sneaker collection because we were talking about it earlier. I love sneakers too, but you have a much more organized, showcased, and very likely more expensive sneaker.
I went a little overboard, but as adults, as you know, we get to indulge into our passions a lot more. I used to dream of this stuff when I was young. So hard work through life pays off. And Michael Jordan for me was a big inspiration. I used to play basketball in high school. And so he's the GOAT. He's the greatest of all time in my eyes, in my opinion. And so I had to get a lot of his Air Jordan 1s and Jordan 3s, Jordan 5s, whatever model you like. But the ones, as you can see, are my favorite year. Those were his first ones that he wore in 1984 as a rookie. And if you've seen The Last Dance, his Netflix special, his biography basically of his last season as a Chicago Bull, what a champion, what a winner. And I look up to people like that who inspire me to do better in life. And he was definitely one of them, a true champion.
And you're the GOAT car detailer. So thank you. And yeah. And you know what? It was so much fun having you on today. And you're such a knowledgeable guy. And I just so appreciate all of your time and your energy and your effort.
I invite anybody who just wants to learn more about car detailing, whether it be tips, tricks. I want to make things simple for people to understand. Or if you have somebody in your family or your friends that want to dive into that, they're going to definitely get the detailing bug by watching my videos. So I encourage and I welcome everybody to come on the channel. They can find me at Pan the Organizer on YouTube, but also on Instagram and TikTok.
And Pan is so close to 1 million on YouTube.
Oh God, yeah.
There. And you know what? I have a great tagline I came up with for you. From Corollas to Cayennes, Pan the Organizer.
I love that. And like I say on my show, I always finish by saying, keep it tight, keep it clean, and I will see you on the next one.
Oh, I love that. And for us, thanks so much for watching, and we'll see you next time.
Bye, everyone.
Bye, everyone. Happy Friday.